A young man once approached a mentor and asked a question that millions of people ask every year. Why do some people attract money and opportunities so easily, while others struggle, no matter how hard they work? The mentor paused for a moment and asked him a simple question. What are you thinking about all day? The young man looked confused. What do my thoughts have to do with money? The mentor smiled and replied with a famous principle from Napoleon Hill. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Napoleon Hill. Then he explained something that most people never truly understand. Wealth does not begin in your wallet. It begins in your mind. And if your thinking is filled with doubt, fear, scarcity and hesitation, then no strategy in the world will work for long. Because success is not only about effort, it is about alignment. Most people believe money is about hustle. They believe success is about working harder and longer than everyone else. But if that were true, the hardest workers in the world would be the richest people, and they are not. The truth is that money follows belief. It follows confidence. It follows people who think clearly about opportunity and value. As Napoleon Hill said, "You are the master of your destiny. You are the captain of your soul." Napoleon Hill. But here is where most people fail. They try to change their life without changing their thinking. They try to build wealth while still carrying a poverty mindset. They want success, but deep down they doubt their own worth. And that contradiction creates resistance, because your actions always follow your beliefs. If you believe opportunity is everywhere, you will look for it. If you believe opportunity is rare, you will miss it. And that difference shapes your future. Lesson 1. Wealth begins with belief. The mentor told the young man something powerful. If you want to change your financial future, you must first change your internal identity. Most people wake up reacting to life. They check their phones. They scroll through problems. They compare themselves to others. And by the time the day begins, their mind is already full of distraction. But successful people protect their mindset. They deliberately train their thinking. They choose what they focus on, because they understand something important. The mind is like fertile soil. Whatever you plant in it will grow. Doubt grows, fear grows, confidence grows, vision grows, and over time, those thoughts become decisions. Those decisions become habits, and those habits build your life. Napoleon Hill wrote that success begins with a clear mental picture of the future you want to create. Because when your mind becomes focused on a goal, your behaviour begins to align with it. You start noticing opportunities. You start developing new ideas. You start making decisions that move you forward. And slowly, your external results begin to match your internal beliefs. Lesson 2. Wealth is built through value and investing, but mindset alone is not enough. Belief must eventually turn into action. And the mentor explained this to the young man. Money flows to value. People who understand this begin thinking differently about income. Instead of only trading time for money, they begin building assets. Assets are things that produce value repeatedly. Businesses, investments, skills, systems, these are the engines of wealth. Napoleon Hill often spoke about the importance of creating organised plans and disciplined action. He believed success required both imagination and strategy. The wealthy do not simply earn money, they learn how to multiply it. They invest. They build systems. They think long term. While most people focus on spending money, investors focus on growing money. This shift in thinking changes everything, because income can disappear. But investments create momentum, and over time, that momentum becomes financial freedom. Lesson 3. Your environment shapes your thinking. The mentor then asked the young man another important question. Who do you spend the most time listening to? Because the truth is that your environment trains your mindset. If you surround yourself with people who constantly complain about money, you will begin to believe money is scarce. If you surround yourself with people who discuss ideas, opportunity and growth, your thinking expands. Napoleon Hill called this the power of association. He believed that the people around you influence your beliefs, your habits, and your expectations. And those expectations eventually become reality. This is why successful people protect their environment. They read books that strengthen their thinking. They learn from mentors. They spend time with people who challenge them to grow, because they know that growth requires exposure to new ideas. Lesson 4. Wealth is a long-term game. The mentor finally explained the most important lesson. Real wealth is not built overnight. Most people want instant success. They want quick results. But true wealth grows slowly, like a tree. First comes the seed, then the roots, then the branches, then eventually the fruit. And that process takes patience. Investors understand this. They think in decades instead of days. They focus on consistent progress rather than sudden wins. As Napoleon Hill taught, patience, persistence, and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success. Napoleon Hill. When you combine belief, strategy, discipline, and patience, the results become powerful, because wealth is not created by luck. It is created by alignment. Alignment between your thoughts, your habits, and your actions. The real secret. At the end of the conversation, the young man realized something. His biggest obstacle had never been money. It had been his mindset. He had been waiting for external success to give him confidence. But the truth is the opposite. Confidence creates success, belief creates opportunity, clarity creates action, and action creates results. That is why Napoleon Hill spent his life teaching one simple truth. Your thoughts shape your destiny. When you change the way you think about wealth, you begin to change the way you behave. When your behaviour changes, your opportunities expand. And when your opportunities expand, your life begins to transform. Final thought. So remember this. Wealth does not begin with money. It begins with mindset. It begins with vision. It begins with belief. Because the future you want is not built by chance. It is built by the thoughts you choose today. And as Napoleon Hill reminded the world, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Napoleon Hill. The question is not whether opportunity exists. The question is whether your mind is prepared to see it.